What's up, everybody? Tyson Roush, Let's Talk Jets. I hope everybody had an excellent weekend. Before we get started, I just want to thank everybody for all the support throughout the weekend for my fundraiser, especially on Jets Twitter. It was absolutely insane and very humbling, so thank you for all that. I'll be making a video recapping the whole fundraiser in the next couple days. Today, Coach Saleh met at the owners' meeting, where usually in these press conferences you don't expect to hear much, but we got some little nuggets that we can digest and talk about and debate. I guess starting with the offense, I guess the biggest news here is where AVT is going to be playing right guard, which is a good thing. I think we all assume that based on the free agent signings. But the hope is that all these starters will be ready to start together in training camp and practice together. And that's been an issue the last couple of years for the Jets, where last year you're waiting for Dwayne Brown, guys are getting banged up, and when you're trying to revamp your offensive line, chemistry is important. All the continuity is important. The Jets have just been mixing and matching, and then all the communications are glaring at that point, where you see all the struggles they're having. So having Morgan Moses and all these guys ready for camp would be paramount. Saleh offered some interesting information on Keith Carter, who a lot of us thought should have been fired after last year, just based on the poor offensive line play. Now, I understand injuries are always a problem all throughout the NFL, but the way the Jets adjusted was never acceptable, and the blown communications and a lack of adjustments, to me, was a huge indictment on Hackett and Carter. And then Carter and Saleh said today that sometimes the message gets lost in the tone. And Carter is known to be a very vocal, very fiery guy. My I guess reaction to that is, if Saleh is a true CEO type of head coach, he should be monitoring Carter and throughout the season working him. But listen, your message is not getting through. We got to adjust this. We got to adjust that. It's great to talk about it after the offseason, but this should be in-game stuff, in-season stuff. And for some reason, it didn't happen. But going forward, we hope that they've learned their lesson with that and things improve. Another big story is he offered about Mike Williams, the wide receiver. He's got a long way to go in terms of his health, which to me is a red flag. We all love the player. We all know what he's capable of. But if that means that Mike Williams is ready for late training camp, maybe beginning of the season, you need somebody else. You got to get somebody else in here. If you want to draft somebody, it's great. But whether that's, I haven't watched social media the last couple of days, a guy like Beckham or whatever else, but you need another veteran wide receiver. The way Saleh talked about Corey Davis didn't seem like it was too promising. There's a lot of reports that he wants to go back to Tennessee. He's trying to hype up Lazard, talking about how once you get that big payday, things can kind of spiral out of control. I'm not counting on Lazard to come back and have a big impact. Maybe it's just because I'm bitter about it. So if you say no Corey Davis, counting on Lazard's kind of sketchy, and Mike Williams coming off a major injury and not rushing him back. For me, the thing is, you want this offense rolling week one, ready to go. You don't want to lose games due to injuries or just lack of depth or lack of whatever else. You want to be, full speed ahead. So if you want to add a wide receiver, great, in the draft, but I'd still look for another veteran. Other than that, I'm trying to think what else he said. Running back, he tried to hype up Izzy as a backup for Breece Hall, but there's still veteran running backs out there you can get, at a good contract. I'd bring another guy in. Again, I haven't seen this weekend's news, but Ezekiel Elliott and Cam Akers and all these different guys that we've mentioned over the last couple of days, I would definitely consider that. I guess another talking point Saleh had was because they were, he obviously realizes that everybody was calling for his head and was pissed off with Joe Douglas and questioning Hackett. His mindset and his mantra pretty much throughout this interview was winning cures all, and that's what you want to hear. I don't care, talking all the T-shirt slogans we make fun of and all the hype videos and one Jets drive and all this stuff means absolutely nothing. Win football games, actions, not words. That should be their thing. We're not going to talk about it. We're going to do it, and that's the most important thing. And they also asked him about having a senior offensive assistant added to the staff, and I think that's a reaction to all the fans saying, you know what, we don't trust Hackett, we don't trust Carter, we don't trust Downing. And apparently the Jets were considering giving Saleh some kind of senior assistant that's kind of overseeing things. And I guess as of now, they're not going to do that. And I think the reason why they're not going to do that is the return of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a football. He knows football inside out and backwards. I'm sure having him in there day in and day out, reviewing what went wrong last year, I think he's such a powerful presence that I'm sure it could scare some people away to even want to take this job. But I think he's going to oversee a lot more and be a lot more assertive because he realizes that it's all on the line this year. You can't have an 8-win season, maybe even a 9-win season is probably unacceptable. You got to be all in it and the best that everybody can be, or they're going to be gone next year. So not having a senior assistant doesn't really surprise me at all. And also the Jets, especially with Saleh and Douglas, they seem to be arrogant about their ways and their process. So adding somebody like that is almost admitting the process and the program is kind of flawed, which I think it is. But I think they don't want to do that because they want to have that perception that everything is fine, which they've done throughout their their history of being here. On the defensive side of the ball, he talked about Bryce Huff, and it's so annoying because he talked about Huff as being a closer, like a Mariano Rivera. And look at the Yankees' success with Rivera, first of all. But you want that closer, especially when you watch the playoffs last year. You look at how the Chiefs won their games. All these top teams, how they closed out games. It was speed on defense and a legitimate pass rush. You let that player walk away. The Jets had several chances to keep him, and now you got to find ways to replace him. Now, Saleh smartly downplayed Will McDonald, saying, you know what, we don't need him, or no, we don't need him to be great. We have faith in him. Try and take the pressure off of him. But my rebuttal is you're one Jermaine Johnson injury away from being a little bit concerned. Now, you could have a lot of faith in the interior defensive line with, Quinnen Williams and maybe Kinlaw emerges and John Franklin Myers. But it's like having that depth, that pass rusher, having an elite guy on the edge that was getting better every year, and you see the explosive nature of him, and letting him walk is really, really frustrating. Other than that, on defense, he talked about adding a safety because right now they have Chuck Clark and Tony Adams. So there's going to be more tinkering going on. I'm sure by the time this video is posted, they probably do something else. But he said all the right things. I think I like that he kept saying winning is the most important thing. Like, that's it. Winning will get rid of the distractions. Winning will get rid of the nonsense and the drama and all this other stuff. And they got to find ways to improve. I'm sure now as we move forward, it's March 25th. It's going to be all about the draft. There'll be some second, third wave free agent signings. But at this point, I think things get quiet because free agents at this point were like, you know what? Let's see what teams do during the draft. And if they have holes, they may actually pay more after the draft than they would right now. So it's kind of a game where, it's kind of a money game where you say, a team with need will pay more now. Because right now, it's like you're thinking about it. You say we can sign, just say, for example, Corey Davis at $5 million a year, or we could draft a guy in the first round or whatever else for less, and he'll be here long term. So a lot of teams are playing that game. So maybe free agency quiets down a little bit until after the draft, and then we'll see. So a lot of debates coming up. I'm sure there's going to be endless videos about what the Jets should do at number 10, whether it's going to be offensive line, wide receiver, tight end. So we'll go through all that, and that's it. So thank you for all the support. I genuinely appreciate it. I haven't made a video in a couple of days because I've been busy running up and down the boardwalk and in the rain. So I'll talk to you guys later.